Well, good afternoon, everyone. This is Sheriff McIntosh with the Adams County Sheriff's Office, and we are doing our Facebook Live here at New Age Beverage. And I want to introduce Jared, who is to my right, and has invited us to his business here to talk about kind of his business, but also talk about what's going on in our neighborhood here at the corner of 68th and Franklin, where the business is located. That's in unincorporated Adams County, part of what we consider our District 3. But before we get into the conversation, I just want to remind all of our Facebook viewers of a couple of things that are coming up in our community, just to get on your radar. We are this Saturday doing a drug take back, and it is April 28th from 10 to 2 at our Government Center front lobby. Now, that's right off of I-76 and Sable Boulevard, or 120th. Some people know it as Sable, some as 120th. Drug take-back is for those prescription drugs that you may have in the medicine cabinet. The encouragement is that they never go down the drain. We don't just throw them in the trash. We want to make sure that we dispose of them properly. And this is a great way of bringing those prescriptions in and that are old, that you are no longer using, and giving them to us so that they can be disposed of properly. So if you have anything, if one of your family members has some of that, make sure that you let them know to join us on Saturday for that drug take back program that we're doing. The other thing I want to talk about is United Communities. This will be our second event that we are doing, our second annual event that we do over the Cinco de Mayo weekend. This one is at Plaza Latina, where it was at last year, and it's just an opportunity for you to come and join us. That Plaza Latina is located at 7053 Pecos. So if you're in that area, if you live in that area, make sure that you come and join us. There's going to be a lot of our folks out there and a lot of our equipment out there, and you can kind of see what it is that the Adams County Sheriff's Office has as resources, and also get to talk to our deputies and staff members about the Sheriff's Office and the role that we play in our community. So please join us from 10 to 2 for the United Communities event at Plaza Latina on Saturday, May 5th. So, as we said, we are here at New Age Beverage, and this location, as I mentioned, is kind of in a warehouse district, and obviously different communities and different locations present different opportunities for us to talk about crime prevention and talk about things that are going on in our community. So we like to get together with our businesses, and this is actually only the second time that we've done this, but the first one was such a great response, and I really enjoyed that time being able to talk with one of our business owners, and today's no different. So just want to thank you for allowing us to be here and to talk about what's kind of going on in your community. And I want to be a resource to you. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask the sheriff.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Sheriff. Really appreciate you being here too. I know that over the years, New Age has tried to link up with some of the events and stuff that you've done, giving some Zing tea and some of the other refreshments, and try to help and sponsor some of the stuff you do as well, because we do believe that you're very important. Obviously, I understand we're in the unincorporated area, but to know that you guys are still here, it makes us feel a little bit more safer. This is New Age Beverages Corporation. Behind me, you see a lot of beverages. The top row is actually all of the brands that we own and operate. We own and operate 5 brands. We have the Aspen waters. We have a probiotic water as well as a pH water. Very good for you. I don't know if people realize that probiotics, they're not a fad anymore. They're really good for your digestion. They're really good for, other benefits. So moving on to our next brand is Bucha, the kombucha. I'm not sure if you've tried kombucha before.
I have not. No.
It's a fermented tea. It also has the probiotics into it, but it's very, very healthy for you. New Age is it's a healthy alternative beverage company. With all of the Coca-Colas and the Pepsis and, a lot of these big brands that have been around a long time, the number one thing you're seeing right now is kind of a shift in those. They're starting to realize that these healthy beverages, they're not a fad anymore. They're not just, they're coming in, and kombucha 3 years ago, people were like, it's not going to be a big deal. It's going to be a fad. It's going to be a way. Now they're realizing everybody's really loving kombucha. So, we're trying to kind of do that alternative. Coca-Cola's kind of getting into the kombucha world now. They're kind of getting into some of our healthy beverages that we actually, produce and we've been doing really well with. So we actually kind of see that as not only growing, but also we really believe that, we're trying to make the world healthier. We're trying to get away from the sugars. So we move on to our next one is Zing Tea. A lot of people have seen Zing Tea. It's been around. It's in the 7-Elevens. It's in the Safeways. You see them all over the place. We use cane sugar, and we do not add sugar into our drinks. We have 13 different flavors, and they all do very, very well. So we're gonna. That's one of our staples. We're gonna stay with that because we really love the Zing Tea. Moving on to the coconut water, we just acquired Coco Libre last year out of California. They have the Coco Libre. They have the coconut water. We also have Coco Libre Sparkling that's just now coming out. And that is fantastic. It's not coming from coconuts or concentrate. It's actually coming right from organic coconuts. We also add green tea to it, to give more of the health benefits. And then we end up with the we have the Aspen, we have the Coco Libre, we have the Zing Tea, we have the Bucha, and then our favorite, we just took over the Marley brand here last June. So we have partnered up with the Marley family. So this actually is coming from them. And we have the Mellow Mood, a nice relaxation tea drink. We have kind of a mate, which we just came out ourselves with. We find that that's going to be an alternative to coffee. I know in law enforcement, coffee is, it is key.
Yes.
So that is definitely good. I know how it is to drink coffee all day long, and at the end of the day, you're so wired. You don't want to drink coffee. You don't want to think about it, and then your next day starts, and the pot of coffee is going to go back on. So we've got 4 flavors of the mate it's doing very, very well. It just came out here last October. So we're very, very excited. We're going to be coming up with some new stuff here coming up in the year. We're going to do Zing Craft, and we're going to do some other stuff it's going to be very good, but it's all going to be healthy for you, and it's all kind of going to be that healthy alternative that you would get from soda and stuff like that. So that's what we do. Those are our 5 brands, but then also our other half of of our company is a distributor. This building right here is actually a warehouse, so we actually distribute all of the other brands that you see here. So, we distribute anything from beer to Nesquik to V8 juice to, pretty much anything that you can distribute, we distribute. So, you can come here to our location, 1700 East 68th Avenue. You can come and basically anything you see on the wall behind me, you can get a discount and buy it right from us. So you don't need to go to the store and it's discounted. So let everybody know.
That's great.
Yes.
That's a great service. Thank you. So we're definitely going to have to talk a little bit more about the Mucha?
The kombucha here. No, it's the Marley, the mate.
The mate. Yeah,
absolutely.
I drink coffee all the time, and I need something that's going to be a little bit more healthy. So I typically just drink coffee and water, and I would love to cut down on the coffee. So maybe that's a great way of doing that in moderation.
Absolutely, everything is in moderation.
So, what questions might you have for me when it comes to your business and things that are going on in the community?
Sure. I mean, I understand that we're in the I'd call it the warehouse district. We're not really into the residential areas. So, as a business and all my employees, what can we do to better keep our property and our people more safe and secure?
Yeah, I think one of the first steps is, and I know that that you have reached out to us before, and a lot of it is just making sure that when a deputy goes by first from the road perspective, that we can see into the building. So there's a program, a SEPTED program, that really talks about making sure that the building is set up in such a way where it is something that we can look from different angles on the street and make sure that everything's okay in the building. And a lot of folks love to put a lot of things around their buildings or around the residence. But if we can't see into the windows, if we can't see the front door, those types of things, it can create an environment that is more inviting for criminal activity, because they can do that either under the cloak of darkness, or even in the daytime. If there's a lot of foliage up against the building, it creates a problem for us to be able to see when we drive by. Inside the building, it's really making sure that you have those conversations with your employees to talk about evacuation, if you need to do evacuation, and as silly as it sounds, just even like the fire drills, and making sure that you have evacuation routes, that if something was to happen inside the building, that the employees know where it is that they should be going. They know exit routes, they know entrance routes, and they make sure that they keep those paths to those routes. They don't. In a warehouse, it'd be real easy to block off some of those evacuation routes, or just routes that you travel along. So make sure that you continue to keep those open. The other thing that you can do is make sure that there's a clear distinction between where the employees are supposed to be and where the visitors are supposed to be, and that there's some type of security that is set, whether it's the person that sits at your receptionist desk, or a door that's got a scan card in it, so that you don't have anybody that shouldn't be back in your warehouse area back there without being authorized. And I would also, any time that you can put security cameras up, those are always beneficial to you as the business owner, also beneficial to us as law enforcement. So that during off hours, when nobody is here, if we start to see a problem or have a problem, it gives us an opportunity to go back with the business owner and kind of look at your cameras and see if there's anything that's going on when you guys aren't here. You already do this, but get to know the local deputies that work in the area, and just make sure that you're having conversations with them about who they are, when they patrol. If you see something suspicious, I think that there's always a tendency, and I appreciate that about business owners and our folks that live in our residential areas. They know that we're busy. They know that law enforcement has a lot to do, and sometimes because of that, they'll hesitate to want to give us a call. They think, well, I don't know if we should call or we shouldn't call. If you're having that type of conversation with yourself, or one of your employees is having that conversation, make the call. Let us make that determination as to whether or not we should come by and look at or investigate a suspicious incident. There's ways that we can go about doing that even without a call. We have a sheriff's app that you can get on your smartphone. It's an Android app or an iPhone app that is specific to the Adams County Sheriff's Office. With that app, you can submit a tip, and that information will go to one of our commanders, and the commander will look at the information. They will assess the information and then distribute that to the proper deputy to come and investigate that submit a tip. That submit a tip can be anonymous, or it can, you can leave the information if you want to be contacted by one of our deputies. And what that allows us to do is, you may not think that it's a big deal, a suspicious car, a suspicious person, something that you're seeing a lot of, and you may have questions about. If you just give that information to us, the time of day that it's happening, a description, whether it's a person or a car, it gives us an opportunity to try to come in contact with that person and just kind of check it out and see if it's something more than what should be going on in this neighborhood. So it's one of those tools that you can use if you start to think, yeah, they're probably really busy, it's a busy time. If you just give us that information, we can follow up on that at a later time.
Oh, that's fantastic news. I did not know about the app. That is really, really great. So thank you very much for those tips.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. You were talking about crimes. What type of crimes are pretty prevalent for this area? Because like I said, we're more in the commercial side. There's not too many residentials, but we do have some residentials around here. I've definitely heard crime of opportunity.
Yes.
And so we really try to tell, especially with our cars, lock your doors, don't leave your belongings that they can see and stuff like that. But, as a business, what kind of crimes do you normally see around here that are pretty prevalent?
Yeah, first of all, just those comments that you made, those are very, very critical, and it's important to pass that on to your employees, knowing that a lot of crime that's committed is a crime of opportunity. The path to least resistance, if they can get into a car and they don't have to work to get into the car, they're going to get into that car first, as opposed to having to break a window or try to force a door open. So it's really, really important that folks lock their stuff up. And as you mentioned, it's really important that they don't leave valuables visible, because if folks are looking for an opportunity to steal things quickly, those items that are visible, they're in, they're out, and before you know it, they can be gone. So we see that where there's a high volume of cars. It's at times can be a target-rich environment when you've got a lot of cars in a specific area. But just as I was driving in here, the way that you have your parking lot set up gives you the opportunity to really be keeping an eye on your parking lot and making sure that you have cameras that kind of look out into your parking lot. If they can be monitored, a camera can be monitored about with the things that are going on. So if you do see somebody who doesn't belong in your parking lot or would be suspicious, then you can let us know. When these buildings are unoccupied, that's when we will see burglaries to some of the businesses. And some destruction of property to some of the businesses. And that's another reason why I think that it's important to get to know your deputy, so that the deputies know when people should be here and when they shouldn't be here, because it gives us a kind of a sense of when it is that we really need to keep an eye on folks that may be coming in and out of the building. If we know your business is closed and we see activity, then we know we've got a problem, and we can start to react to that. And then I would say the other crime that's really kind of prevalent, really throughout the state of Colorado, is motor vehicle theft, and we're seeing a lot of that in Colorado. We just had a very large task force meeting with sheriffs and chiefs and the Colorado State Patrol. That just took place about 2 weeks ago, to really start to talk about some of the trends that we're seeing, so that we can start to put together some plans to start trying to eliminate the numerous auto thefts that we have in the Denver area. So
wow, that's fantastic. Thank you for that. Really. So you were talking about deputies, getting to know our deputies. First, I would love to absolutely just let all your deputies know if they're in the area and they're thirsty, please come and see me. I've got beverages. They'll be cold. We've got water, and obviously we've got all of our other stuff. So especially the summertime's coming up, stay hydrated, deputies, stay hydrated. But please remember, if you're around this beverage company, stop in, come and say hi. We'd love to chat with you. Come and get a nice cold beverage. Like I said, it could be water, maybe mate if you're a little tired in the morning, something like that. But talking about deputies, so how often do, I understand we're in the unincorporated, and I hate that word because I think we're all corporated, especially in Adams County. But how often do they actually patrol around this area?
I would tell you that with most areas, there's two different really kind of patrol patterns that we do. Obviously, a lot of where we're at is dictated by the radio calls that we get. So when somebody calls for a deputy sheriff, then we respond to that in different areas. In this specific district, it goes down to 52nd Avenue and it goes up to 88th Avenue, and it runs from I-25 over to our west, really kind of to the river on our east. So that's what we consider District 3. And District 3 is, as you know, is really kind of broken up into a strong business warehouse presence in the lower part of District 3, and a lot of residential in the northern part of 3. One of the things that we also try to do is make sure that when we are not responding to radio calls, that we are really kind of splitting the district, and that especially happens at night, especially when we have the overlap. There's a time during the evening when our swing shift cars are still out and our graveyard cars come into service, and they kind of split the district when that happens to make sure that there's a couple of cars in the lower part of 3 and a couple of cars in the upper part of 3. And so you will see deputies in this area probably on a nightly basis. Part of their routine is to make sure that they are checking the businesses after they close, and then there's also deputies that are responding to the things that are going on in the residential areas in the evening. Also, we typically keep deputies in a specific area for a length of time. So they get to understand and know the neighborhoods very, very well. They get to start seeing what kind of looks out of place, what's odd, what's not odd. If they were in here, you would get to kind of know your District 3 deputies, and they can, when they make contact with the different business owners, they kind of get to know the habits of the different businesses and what they should be looking for and when they should be looking for it.
Sure. Wonderful. Well, thank you very much for that. And honestly, I have one more question, and you already alluded to it earlier. But what type of beverages do you like? And then also, what is your favorite type?
I would say that I almost exclusively drink coffee and water. My family starts to get into the teas, and I just haven't really done that yet. But all of these products up here are absolutely brand new to me. I've seen the Zing tea. I know that my kids they love the Zing tea, but the rest of those I've never really run across those. And I like the fact that there's a health aspect to that. Yes. And I definitely want to start trying some of those and see what
we're going to get you some.
See what fits my fancy there, because I can tell you that at times I want to stop drinking coffee, and water is kind of boring at times. I drink a lot of it, but you want a little bit of flavor or a little bit of substance in what you drink. I have almost exclusively gone off of drinks that have sugars in them, and because I know that that's not good for me. When I drink coffee, it's black, and when I drink water, there's nothing in it. So, it would be nice to have an alternative.
Well, you came to the right place. We are the alternative.
All righty. Well, thank you so much for sitting down with me, and I absolutely enjoy getting to meet our business owners in the area, and I really do thank you for. I know that you've been out at our Bar Lake Run, and you have sponsored different things with us and for us, and I really appreciate your partnership and your support of the sheriff's office and of our deputies, and would encourage, as you said, the deputies to stop by here and get to know you a little bit better when they have time to do that. But if you have a business and you would love to have us come and have a chat on a Thursday afternoon and talk about your business and what it is that you do and the significant role that you play in our community. We would love to do that with you. Please make sure that you contact us. And the easiest way to do that is just to shoot us an email at communityconnections@adcogov.org. And that's ADCOGOV.org. So Community Connections, I know it's 2 words, but make it 1 word when you're emailing at adcogov.org. And we will look for ways of connecting with you in the future. And until then, have a great evening.